Hello and welcome to my second project as an American Crafts design team member. I'm using the Creative Devotion line. This is the brand new prayer journal from the Creative Devotion line, American Crafts. This is the gel crayon set. I'll be using this to create a watercolor. And as you can see here, I'm just smashing some of it down. Not very hard. You can just rub it into the watercolor palette to get some of it in the well there. And so I'm going to add water. I'll show you the brush. I'm using a number 4 Grumbacher watercolor brush here. And I got this little drawing sketch pad. It's sketch paper in a pad from Target for like $4.50. And you can see here I'm starting really light. That's what I like to do when I'm doing watercolors. And by no means am I a watercolor artist here. I'm just trying this out. And I decided to use the gel crayons like a watercolor. Almost more like an acrylic paint actually, now that I'm looking at it, because I'm not using a ton of water. I'm just using a very little amount of water because I'm using a drawing paper. The watercolor paper I have is really dark cream and I wanted to use a brighter white, so that's why I'm using the drawing paper. And it didn't pill up, but that's probably because I didn't use a ton of water and I didn't soak the paper beforehand. So you'll see it started really light, and then I'm going to go back, and I left white space at the top so that I can get a lot of highlight and shadow from just the one color. I'm using the teal, but I'm using it really diluted, and then I'll go back and add some shading. So here you see I've gone back and added it a little bit more concentrated to get more of the teal in order to get a little variance in the create some highlights and shadows and depth to make it look a little bit more 3D. And this was really easy. It didn't take very long, and it was very forgiving. You can see I've got 3 on the right there, and then I'm going to use this one on the left as well. Now I'm going back and I'm going to add some more dimension by just adding a little bit of the darker. And here's some more that I've tried. I just showed you at the bottom of my sketch pad. And now what I want to do is add some detail. I'm going to create the stems. I'm showing you the multicolor pencil and the Creative Devotion line. There are 8 colors in this, so that's convenient. So I'm using the brown and I'm just drawing the stems in. Just a little curved bit at the top, super easy. And I'm also going to use the journaling pen from the Creative Devotion line. Here it is. And I'm going to create some shading along one edge of the stem just to give it a little tiny bit more realistic look. And this is I think it's the fine line pen set or colored pen set. And I'm just adding the detail at the bottom, a little bit more shading to darken up and give it a little more dimension. You'll notice I fussy cut the pumpkins. I'm just moving my water there so I don't spill it. I fussy cut the 3, there they are. And then the one that's going to go on the left page. And that vellum sheet there, that rectangular vellum sheet, I'm going to hand letter a quote on that. And that comes from the scripture paper pad, also in the Creative Devotion line. And because it's vellum, you can see through it to the lines on the prayer journal, and that really helps keep it even so I don't go crooked on all wonky. I've been practicing my hand lettering. I still have a long way to go. For about 10 to 20 minutes each morning for the last year and a half, just for a little bit. I don't hand letter like all day or anything. It's just a tiny bit in the morning when I drink my coffee, and I'll do the alphabet, like 3 lines of the alphabet, and then I'll do a scripture quote every morning just to get a little practice and make that muscle memory in your hand work. Oh, and these rub-ons, the rub-on transfer sheets that come in the Creative Devotion line, these go on as smooth as butter. Watch, I'm just going to peel it up as I use the wood popsicle stick, and it's on there like perfection. And I just rub around the edges just to make sure it's adhered well, and that looks like it's printed directly on the paper, so that's perfect. And I'm going to use the texture stickers. I really like this pack of stickers because there's different textures, obviously. This one is the pink watercolor. I'm going to place it behind the photo just to add some color and texture since there's a lot of neutral in that photo. I just had to trim it because it went off the edge a little bit. So then I'll place a photo on top, and I'm going to also use one of the packages of washi tape in this line that has a lot of neutrals. Here is, I have a tray, which I was trying to show it to you, but I wasn't on camera. And this is the package that I'm going to be using. There's 8 different washi tape rolls. Yeah, there we go. I just pointed to the item number there. And so what I'm thinking right now is because there's a lot of color in the pumpkins and the different watercolor elements on the page and the stickers, what I'm going to do is probably use the black and white different patterns just to add in a neutral. And I really like this grid. It's like a dark gray grid, so that'll look good over the quote here on the left. I'm just gonna rip it there and place it really easy. That way, if I want at some point, you could add something under the quote, like a picture. A photo would look good, or some journaling cards. Then on the right, I want to use the floral, the black and white floral there. Sorry, I just yawned. And I used my HP Sprocket photo printer for the first time. So I'm peeling off the sticker paper there to adhere the photo. And the other reason I like using that style in the prayer journal is because it's super flat. So it's not going to add a lot of bulk. So you'll notice most of the things on this page are completely flat. There's stickers, washi, the photo, and just the vellum. So there's not any dimension to this page. That way it's going to still close when I get it mostly filled there. So I'm using the Marathon tape runner. There's a refill for that as well, just to adhere the pumpkins, and the other single pumpkin on the left, I'll need to adhere that one as well. I want to add some texture or some stamping. There are also 3 or 4 stamp sets that come. I'm lifting that up to see that if I add a sticker or some washi tape or something there under the pumpkin to kind of ground it. So I'll go back, and I've got this cross from the texture sticker that I'm going to add here over the rub-on. There we go, a little tiny close-up view there. And at the end of this video, I will definitely have better close-ups so that you can see a little bit better the details of the page. I'll have still shots and close-ups, and then I'll have all the links in the description box below. I'm seeing if I want to add some more of the rub-ons. And here's the texture sticker pack. And I like that there's the little dots. It looks like you stamped those. So I'm just going to put them directly under the pumpkin on the page behind the vellum. Lift up there. So to me, this page kind of looks like a cross between a bullet journal or a traveler's notebook or an art journal, because you've got the painted elements, you've got some of the hand lettering. So I'm showing the package there if you want to. This is the date stamp from the Creative Devotion line. So I'm going to stamp, and I really like the size of the font for the date here because it's a lot smaller than your handwriting, so it stands out a little bit. It's nice and crisp. So I'm going to stamp that in the Let's see which ink pad I use. I'm trying to look at the date here. This is for the week of October 1st through October 7th. So I'm just going to stamp October 1st first. And I believe I'm using Tuxedo ink. Wait, what am I saying? I'm using the Memento ink in Tuxedo Black for the date. I'm sorry, I'm off camera, but that's what I'm doing. I'm adding ink to the date stamp. And where am I? There I am. So the top right hand side of the layout, the printed photo is pumpkins from our dining table. And then you'll see that there it is. It stamps so crisp and clean there. And you'll notice in the final that I hand lettered the word harvest with a big pink Tombow marker there. And it'll show up in the still shots at the end of this video. And you'll get to see how I filled in the page with the journaling. And I'm just adding the rest of the date. And what I'll also do, I end up doing off camera, is I'm going to stamp Sunday through Saturday, and as I journal, I'll stamp each day with this stamp as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for watching till the end. Here's some close-ups so you can see a little bit better the detail.